What's going on, everybody? Gustav the 13th here with another video talking about the newest suit for the console version of GBO2 as of the week of June the 19th, 2025. We have a support! Finally! And it's the G cannon. So, let's get into this. So it's rocking a similar rifle to the actual other version of this, which I don't know if this account actually has it. Damn. But this is something that I personally have been waiting for a little while. Especially after seeing it in the movie and some of the cool stuff that I was doing. Now, that being said, some of the skill stuff on this a little bit lacking, but let's get into the rest of the weapons. This does have balancers and stuff like that. So the saver, 2450 cooldown time. Obviously, this is priority 1. They didn't give it to. I kind of wish that they did. It would have been nice. But compatibility in space. Good luck if you're trying to do this on the step up too, because it's in 2-star hell, and they also just added some stuff that's gonna muck up the whole thing. You know, some more RF versions and levels of some of the older stuff. The Vulcans, though, pretty good. Nice accumulation, 200 range on these. The rifle, we should probably go back for a second. 400 meters on this, but it also has something a little bit different from its counterpart. It has a double beam gun on its wrist, and this actually is 2 bursts, heat based, instant stun on both shots. Very nice. This also has the burst shot on it. As you can see, no other alternate fire for this. But in its place, we get the big contender. We got the 4-barrel machine cannon times 2. 100 ammo, 400 range on this bad boy, and honestly, pretty good damage buildup. As you can see, with the range that we have, is 35. I originally bumped it up to about 40 or 50. Some people put it up to 60. Definitely can do some dirt with that. Some other skills are kind of lacking in terms of this having more output potentially, but we'll get into that in a second, because we also have, and I'm pretty sure, so obviously a few other supports do have the defense stance instead, but the G cannon shield can actually be used to parry, much like its counterpart as well. So obviously it is still physical. It doesn't really have a lot of health. It's only 2k. As a medium shield, not a large shield. I wonder if they'll ever let a large shield be able to parry. There's a couple supports that I can think of that would actually enjoy that. Jim can't do it. Should they ever do that? No. Are they ever going to? Probably not. But it would be nice. I wouldn't say no. But I think that does mark this as the first support to actually have something like that outside of just regular blocking. So that's cool. That being said, as we get into the skills, you know, spoiler alert, this thing can't roll. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a defensive maneuver. But let's rewind it back a little bit and look at our stats here. So 19k health, ballistic beam and melee are 26, 28, and 12 respectively. Of course, as a support, there goes that low melee resistance again. And even beyond that, at 600 costs, obviously there are other suits that do have their stuff starting baseline in the 20s, but that's kind of low. Range strength is 35, melee strength is 25, so actually not a super big gap there, considering how balanced it is in terms of, you know, being able to bust out that melee because of balancers and all that stuff. Kind of nice that they at least left it that high. Movement speed is 130, 205 for the top speed, not the fastest thing on 2 leggies, but that's okay. Thruster gauge of 75, not too much to get to 80, although as we get into the skills as well, you're going to probably want to put that up a little bit. Turning speed is 69. Part slots wise, we have 11, 15, and 18 for close, medium, and long. A good bit of leeway, especially for the mid and long, depending on what you want to put. Obviously, because it's the first level 1 version of this, there's not a lot you can do with some of the scaling, overtune parts, and stuff like that, but there are other things that are a bit more independent of that kind of scaling that you can put on here to help your defense and other things. As for the skills, high performance radar 3, high performance scope 2, observational data link 1, scouting parallel processing device. This is a little weird because it's like, you can see your thing while you're scoped. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of people that go super hard on trying to scope in, unless you just really want to eke out that extra bit of damage for certain things. But frontline support system, very nice. -5% for each ally with the skill for the respawn time. High performance aerospace gimbal, which, you know, go figure. You have less back problems when you're in space. Flight control program 2 and glide structure 2. It's interesting that we don't have fall prevention system in this, but as we get down into these skills, you'll probably see why. And I think, honestly, it's a little bit disappointing. It kind of bums me out. High performance balancer, high spec AMBEC, force injector 2, flat booster. So you have flat booster. Unfortunately, you have flat booster 1. That being said, you're not a giant shit brick like the Malurs, and at the very least, you start with a decent amount of thrust. So, depending on if you can get the Ox Burner on or some other things, you can kind of get some distance and do a little itty bitty bit of redirecting. Keep in mind that although you do have Force Injector, it's only Force Injector 2. A lot of this other stuff isn't necessarily high enough for you to not take big old chunks out of your boost by redirecting mid-air. Now, we also come to a different thing, and I think this is a new skill. I'm not super sure if it's on anything else, but Bullet Feeder, hell of a name by the way. When reloading with 30% ammo remaining for ranged ballistic beam ammo base, and obviously that's not exactly that much. That much or more. In other ammo-based weapons, reload time is reduced by 30%. So, if you do early reloads and stuff like that, say you know that it's not going to be able to stagger somebody, or you're just trying to alternate between them, that will go a little bit faster and be readied up a little bit quicker. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm going to be honest with you. I have a very bad tendency to ammo dump, especially when we talk about the accumulation on the Gatling cannons themselves. But the rifle is ammo-based, 6 shots. Vulcan's obviously the only thing that's really energy-based is the double beam gun when it comes to the ranged options. So things to keep in mind, especially because you're going to be alternating between those a lot. And then we get into what's missing here. So obviously no roll, no block. We don't have, similarly, the, I forget what it's called, but essentially you don't have the defense when you're actually in commit stance for the cannons. So you can be stunned out of it pretty easily. No damage control, no anything crazy like that. So this is still very naked when it comes to stun resistance and situational resistance, which is a little rough. Similarly, and when we get into practice, you'll see it. You cannot fire the cannons mid-air. Obviously, you can still do the rifle and your arm cannons and everything else. But, you know, seeing it in the movie, pretty much like boosting and spinning around and trying to take out the drones and stuff, I thought that was really cool. It's a bit of a shame that they're still very slow to let other things be fired midair, and I don't know if it's an engine problem, like for the game itself, or if they're just kind of like, well, if we do it like that, it's going to be all willy-nilly for all the other suits, and then they're going to want it. It's like, yeah, they should. You tease this with the Vesper cannon, and then, of course, on PC, you had the big old Garobi that the Wing Zero can do. I want more shit like that. Please. A big. It's also kind of why I was a bit bummed out by the no fall prevention, because this seems like it could have been a cool suit to kind of fuck around with that kind of stuff. But getting back on track a little bit here. Enhancement list. We have plus 100 to shield HP for the first one. Complex expansion comes early since this is another 2-star. So 910 for that, plus 1 to all your slots for parts. Plus 1 to range strength for the next, and plus 1 to anti-beam. The unlockables then are plus 1,000 to your shield HP, which definitely useful considering that you want to keep it around as much as possible for the parry, and just the extra melee slap if you're being cheeky enough. 3660 for that, and then plus 4 the range strength, which is pretty good because that means that you can, I think, hold on. Yeah, you can just get that to like flat 40 if you get both of those done, and then scale up from there. So that's nice. Nice little bit of extra baseline there. But let us bring this into practice. I'm gonna actually make sure that my buttons are set on this version of the thing. They kind of are. I need this, even though I'm always a little bit on the fence about putting too much stock into it, just because, especially with physicals, it's so breakable. No, we'll show this off in practice before we get into our example match. So, pretty run of the mill for the rifle. Good burst there. We do the charge shot. 3-round bursts, all of those are instant stun. Speaking of instant stun, there it comes, the beam, wrist beam. 2 bursts there. Obviously, if you do it again pretty fast after that, you're just gonna burn it out. Right around the threshold at the top is where you kind of want to be. Vulcans wise, let us get into this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So pretty typical. 17 shots. Good, decent rate of fire. Pretty steady. Not super fast, but not a big deal when you have 60 shots in this bad boy. And now we get into the Gatling. So, obviously, 400 meters. Means you got a pretty generous range here. Jesus. Right around here. And as you can see, very little accumulation there. If you lay into it with the whole thing, you get pretty close. Other situations, depending on what's around you, or if you're not missing 1 or 2 shots here and there, you can pretty much get a stun for the 100 bullets. But definitely not the point of the weapon. Definitely just, as you saw, we were shredding the dog shit out of this. 422. And this is a naked build, mind you. Obviously, these probably are too, but like, considerable. And you're doing it at a pretty rapid succession. Not bad at all. The melee then. Big swipe for the neutral. Bit of a thrust for the downswing. And the usual fare for the swipage to either side. Of course, then you have the shield thing. 2k flat damage regardless. Neutral priority, so you should be able to just hit through a bunch of shit. Obviously be careful because this is a physical shield, and once it's gone for that life. It ain't coming back. But in general, very nice. Like I was saying, I'm not super fond of the idea that we are a little bit more exposed than we should be at this cost range while laying into them with these. And as you're seeing, I'm like holding it down. I can't fire it in the air. Not a lot of skills that really help cater to that anyway, but decent amount of reach. One other thing to show off then, as we slowly march our way over to the base, is to show off the accumulation and potential for base busting with this robot. So, regular shot, visible pip, right? The smashers, honestly, I keep wanting to call them Gatling smashers, but honestly, they don't do a lot. Those are for mobile suits. The beam gun unit does do a little bit, and then of course the charge shot on this. That's your bread and butter for at least trying to put the suit over, or the ship over. But as you can see, even then, especially because this is ammo based, you're gonna have a lot of pauses and stuff in there. It's gonna take a hot minute for you to really take down a base or do any like noticeable damage on your own. You can help put it over, but more often than not, in this suit, you're gonna be focusing on your Gatlings and just, you know, keeping other people off the folks that had the real, you know, big hitters when it comes to base busting over here. Unless you're just feeling cheeky and want to go in as a little pilot and do your thing. This is another one of those suits though that's very simple, not a whole lot to say, but I think this one's gonna stick around for a little bit. Like I said, some of the lack of resistance is a bit rough, but that seems to be the name of the game at 600 in some cases. It's not until 650 that we kind of get into some of the particularly busted shit when it comes to just how much stuff they slather on those suits, outside of the obvious things, like the odds being a little bit of a cheater still. But this, I think, has a decent amount of kit to deal with that, and obviously it does have the gambit of trying to slap when things like the odds or otherwise come up a little too close and show a little bit too much attitude. So, we do have an example around that we're going to put up. To be honest, it just kind of mostly just shows off the kind of damage that this has when it's left undisturbed, and or how it's really kind of dealing with things as it's going in between certain, you know, battlefields and things like that. And we're going to put that rematch right around here. In the new suit, the G Cannon.
Get ready to head out, everyone!
Bing, 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 bing. A red-eye fish.
Commencing operation. Our side captured a beacon.
What are you doing, dude? If we spent half that time doing that to the enemy, we might be winning already. Bitch. Oh god, oh god. No, 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 no. Fuck off. What do you mean? That's a lot of bullshit right there. Okay, am I gonna be arrested also? Oh my god, oh lord Jesus. Oh lordy Jesus. Get this motherfucker out of here. He's trying to kill me. Help. Help. Ow. Oh, I'm kind of glad I didn't hit him at least, but still. Fuck. Shit. Oh, hey. Can I handle it? This nonsense. Motherfucker thinks he's on roll range shit. Get dead, stupid. No. Take it at. Take it easy. That was fucking Machu the other day. Why does everyone keep snatching me up, brother?
Enemy unit down. Way to go. The enemy took a beacon.
And... Oh. Oh dear. Number 2. Oh my god.
Our side captured
Sir.
a beacon.
Oh shit. Oh.
Allied unit.
Get fucking dead. Get out of here. Ooh, that's gross. Get out of here. Holy schmolies. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. No, 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 no. Oh my god. Get back.
Ally has destroyed an enemy mobile.
Ooh. Stop. Take it at. Take it easy. Take it up. Oh, he's right behind me. There's something right behind me. Oh, no.
Ally has destroyed an enemy mobile.
Ooh. No, your butt's in the way. No, you big old badookies in the way. What the hell? Why'd you do that? I'm just trying to kill the guy. What's the matter with you?
Requesting support.
Oh, I'm just a concerned citizen. Trying to do my part to bring peace to the world.
Our side captured a beacon.
Daytona.
Our side captured a beacon.
What are we looking at here? Can I? Take that. Beep, 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 beep. Uh-oh. I'm late. Oh, shit. Not the Louis Co. Oh, God. Oh, God. Sweet baby Jesus. Thank you, Shield Senpai. I love you. Oh, you got out. You flappy out, I flappy in. I'm so sorry. That's my bad. Okay. That's me being a fool. I should have just left that alone. His piloto got out. I don't know where his piloto is gonna go. Oh, I see him. Oh, he found it. And bang, bang, bang. Shiggity bang, bang, bang. I didn't have anything. No. Is this 400 or so? I don't know actually. Can I fire from here? No. Man, that's some bullshit. Aren't I just a little gun cannon, buddy? I'm just a little guy. You're not gonna let me do it from way over there. I'm prone. What the hell? Oh shit. Oh fuck. What the? I hit it like a shield, I guess? I'm not really sure what happened there. That's silly. Oh yeah.
Mission accomplished. You and your crew did it.
We did it. If only we had these kind of crews every day. That's crazy. I mean, that's gross.
Here are your rewards for the
So it does make me a little bit nervous that it doesn't have the like rigidity defense thing on it, but like still it accumulates a little bit. It's mostly just how alarming it does damage wise at that range. So that was our round in this suit. I'm gonna be honest with you, the other round that we did after this out of curiosity kind of went a little bit worse. If you don't really have, and this seems to go for most supports, right? If you don't have a little bit more of an aggro front line and you have a lot of suits that are a little bit more melee centric, this does have a couple stuns, but obviously it's going to be a little bit rough with the maneuver armor and all this other stuff to kind of keep them at a distance with those stuns unless you're already hitting them at that 400 range or otherwise you're just going to be stunning them right in front of you and being like, oh no. And you just got to hope that ready at time, which, you know, not that fast compared to other things. Or that you have a tackle ready to try to get them on their, you know, on their back. The other thing that I think this is missing, honestly, is, and I think I may have said it even during the match, is that this doesn't have Pursuit Auxiliary. In a world where the Yuma Lightning of all suits has both melee and ranged versions of that skill that gives you extra damage when things are on the ground, why in the fuck does a suit with Balancer and melee and all this other stuff not have at least the ranged version so that it can take advantage of that, especially with the Smashers? And I get that these are already pretty high up, but I think to a certain degree they're trying to see just how well it does without all that extra stuff, because let's be frank, this is just a higher cost, better version of the G-Line standard armor, which is a suit that they've seemingly, in an entire suit line to be honest, that they're seemingly avoiding touching right now. And it kind of makes me wonder that after they get enough data for this thing, if they'll maybe go back to the standard armor or maybe some of those other G-Line suits and give them some fucking TLC finally, right? I would appreciate it. I think it's long overdue. And if they're really gonna let something like this rock, you know, without DC, without any of these other like resistance skills, and if it does well enough, then yeah, I think it bears some, you know, some consideration to not only give some of those to this, depending on how good or bad it does, regardless, but also to touch on those suits as well in the future. So hopefully this is a bit of a stepping stone towards their next adjustments, but we'll see. I think this is probably going to stick around for a little bit, especially at 600. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is lower cost as Cannon Gun, obviously, because it does have some of those resistances and kind of introduced a lot of that stuff. And the Cannon Gun at its cost range is kind of having a hard time as well. Not necessarily the powerful example that it once was when it initially dropped. But I think this can do pretty well at 600, and we'll see how that goes as the week continues. This is definitely not something that you absolutely positively have to run out and get, I wouldn't say. But we'll see how it sticks around as the week goes by. You know, and if you want to see if my opinions changed or anything like that, be sure to tune in every day for GBO2 dailies over on YouTube and or Twitch. You know, we'll always appreciate the extra support on the YouTube side. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Let me know how you guys feel about the suit in the comments, and if you guys have even bothered to spin for it. And until next time, this is Gustav the 13th. I'll talk to you all in the next video.